Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Jenelle Kim, and this is Craig Nandoo with The Experts. We are here at Innikos Napa, and we are here with a friend of ours and someone who is so inspiring, certainly an expert in the entire beauty industry. His name is Pascal Houdayer. He is the founder of Orveon, which is a prestige cosmetic umbrella company of incredible brands such as Laura Mercier, Buxom, you say it much more beautifully than I do, and Bare Minerals. And he is going to enlighten us with some really important topics, aspects that we all should know when building a brand, scaling a brand, and honestly, whatever Pascal wants to say is going to be enlightening. Pascal, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you, Jenelle. It's very nice to see you again. It was a pleasure to meet you last year at Innikos in Austin.
Yes, we love
It's great to see you again. Yeah, a bit of background. Spent 20 years at P&G in 3 continents, then 7 years at Henkel, where I was the CEO of the beauty care division, mainly on the hair care brands like Schwarzkopf, and became the CEO of Naos, which is in dermocosmetic with Bioderma.
Absolutely.
And then I was the founder of Orveon, as you just said. So it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, so happy to have this conversation and to just always be with you. You have so much personality and life. And
Pascal is an expert in a lot of things. And so how do we narrow down what we're going to talk about today? Something that's very interesting to me that I think you're an expert in that maybe a lot of people aren't is how do you scale a brand? Maybe if you're a brand and you're established, how do you look for acquisition? Is it a good strategy for brands and as they're looking to grow, maybe even to other countries?
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. That's a topic that we covered today during Innikos, because a lot of the founders or the indies brand founders were starting their brand in the US, and their question was how we scale the brand even further in the US and outside of the US. The few discussions that we have were around geographic footprint expansion, acceleration of digitalization, getting better in innovation. So let's start with the first one. A good discussion was the recipe of the business model of your brand in the US might not be exactly adaptable on other countries, like in Japan, China, France, or South Africa. You might need to adapt actually your business model and what made you successful, in the US. That can be slight adaptation sometime on the product and packaging, sometime on the claims, and for sure in your go-to-market, because the equivalent of Amazon does not exist in China, as we know, or other brick and mortar equivalents. If you work with Ulta in the US, you might want to work with Douglas in Europe or Sephora, etc. So there was an element of making sure that there is no dogmatism in the way you adapt your winning business model of the US for the rest of the world. So that was the first part of the discussion. The second part of the discussion was about the acceleration of digitalization. Most of the brands which are indie started with their own direct-to-consumer website. And they're struggling in how can I move to retailer.com and then should I go to Amazon, for example, in premium beauty? And we had a lot of exchange on the fact that in order to scale your brand, you cannot remain only in direct-to-consumer. And you have ways to control your content while moving, on platform, on Sephora.com, Ulta.com, and then move now in Amazon Premium Beauty, where brands like Bare Mineral, Buxom were pretty much the innovators in the summer 23. And now a lot of premium beauty brands, including Clinique 2 weeks ago, are moving there. So that's another aspect of scaling the business. And the last one was about innovation. And a lot of the discussion were on product, and I believe we need to move the debate from product to actually services and experiences.
Okay.
And if you basically only sell a product in a bottle on a shelf, you're basically not serving the modern consumer. And it was all about, how you can move from product to service to experience and have a model that is winning with the consumer and the shopper. So that was the main discussion.
This episode is brought to you by Iota Body. Iota Body is the first smart microbiome body care designed with both complete functional and microbiome benefits in one for skin and overall health. The collection combines premium face-grade actives with 47 vitamins, minerals, and adaptogens from globally sourced plant-based ingredients to deliver powerful, targeted treatments for glow, firmness, and aging. Please stay tuned for a special promo code for Iota products at the end of this episode. So you would say that not just the product, but how the product makes you feel, or as
The
part of a community,
experience.
or what would you mean by that?
Yeah, the experience is end-to-end. And end-to-end means, people are browsing, we call it the zero moment of truth.
Yes.
How do you get in contact with the product? Where do you get information?
Right.
Before even you touch the product, is it online? Is it talking to a friend? Is it word of mouth? Is it looking at something on Instagram or TikTok, one influencer or somebody you trust?
Yes.
When you talk about dermocosmetic, is it a dermatologist that is endorsing your brand, is telling you
Right.
something about it? So how do you browse your information for the products? That's the first thing. After that comes the first moment of truth. Where do you buy?
Right.
Yes.
And we should basically transcend the idea that I buy online or I buy in the stores. Actually, it's irrelevant.
Right.
If you're really consumer-centric and you put the consumer at the center of what you do, then you basically know that the consumer will go in store, browse on their
Right.
apps, touch the
Yes.
product, try the color to do color matching with their skin on foundation or the lipstick. And then they might go back home and buy on Amazon because they are Prime user and they get it in 3 hours.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
irrelevant because at the end they are brand consumers.
Right.
So that's basically a second aspect of the service you need to work on. And it doesn't stop there. The second moment of truth is when the people use it.
Right.
And when they use it, either you deliver the promise you told them at the concept stage or you don't.
Right.
And if basically you promise the functional benefit you don't deliver, there is no repurchase.
There's
Of
so
course.
many options.
And there
That's
are so
part of
many
what
options.
everything that we're saying. There are so many options nowadays, as we all know, which is one of the reasons why we even have this show to begin with, is to demystify, go to the source, find out, what is effective, what is a true and authentic story, and that's what you're speaking of. So
we have-
And the
certainly a theme.
last point for me
Yes,
is
please.
we rarely talk about the last point, which is the moment where your consumer is aware, has bought, has tried,
Yes.
and becomes an endorser of your brand and basically go back to the zero moment
Yes.
of truth. When you manage end-to-end to have this first bit, that means your brand is creating a loyalty beyond reason. That's what, like a love mark versus a trademark.
Right, absolutely. The retention, we actually spoke about that in a previous interview of how important that is with Emma from Rebel 360. I love how you put it in that beautiful framework, the first moment of truth, second and third. It really does help. And it should be something that I think every single brand and consumer should be aware of those steps and what's so important and what to look for even as a consumer. Be aware of what is in the bottle and what is the story, where does it come from?
If we have 1 minute, I'd like to revisit something you mentioned. You said a brand can't scale by being an e-commerce brand only. And so when you're looking at a brand and maybe they have this great e-commerce following, they have customer retention, they have, a really loyal following, at what point do you see they should jump off to now looking at wholesale distribution or changing their model to gain that bigger scale?
It's
Good
very
question.
I think there is no recipe and it really depends on the
Yes.
category.
Yes.
If you work in mass beauty, it's different than premium beauty. It's different from luxury.
Yes.
I would argue that a luxury brand cannot survive without their own boutique.
Yes.
But in order to have your own boutique, you need to basically have a certain level of scale because then, you invest in capital investment in the boutique. You have a personnel that needs to be trained and basically, epitomizes the value of the brand themselves.
Yes, sure.
So, it's difficult to say you need to move from DTC to physical. It depends on the journey of your brand, how your financials are doing and how fast you want to grow. But, in order to be a real global big brand, you need to be omni-channel. That's no brainer.
Omnichannel. Our episode sponsor, Iota Body, is extending a phenomenal 20% discount on all Iota products. If you have already fallen in love with Iota's amazing products or are trying them for the first time, you can take advantage of this exclusive discount for listeners of The Experts. To receive the discount, visit iotabody.com and enter EXPERTS20. That's EXPERTS20 at checkout.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Pascal. We knew you would enlighten us with so much information. My head is definitely
It was a pleasure,
filled.
Jenelle.
I
So-
feel like we could talk to you all
We
day
could,
long,
we
probably
could.
going into tomorrow, and we probably
Yes.
will. Just it's not going to be on camera. So
Yes.
thank you very much for joining us.
Nice to see you
Pascal.
again.
Thank you so
Great
much,
to see you
Pascal.
as
We
well.
appreciate you. Thank you.